everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Reaction Therapy Podcast. I'm your resident psychotherapist, Tom Stevens, here with Nick Stevens, the brains behind the operation, the guy that runs everything to make this happen every single day. And we are here for another episode. Actually, Nick, sadly, the final episode of the history of reaction therapy. We are going to cover from May all the way up to today and what has happened. And after that, it's only looking forward.
Looking forward. We'll have history eventually, but we'll have more of looking forward. And like you just said, instead of a history, it'll be like a look ahead.
That's right.
Our view.
And we've always said we always think ahead. We're months ahead of wherever reaction therapy is now. And we have some cool things we might be able to talk about today planned for the future so we can put the past behind us, relish it, and just be thankful for it, and then move forward with some really cool podcast ideas.
Yeah, we got some really, not even podcast ideas, but other things too. We have a lot of things going on. Like you said, we think months ahead. But before we think months ahead, let's just talk about today. So it's been a busy day for both of us today. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. I mean, it's a Tuesday that we record this, and Tuesdays I don't see clients at work. I handle work business, which is calls and emails and bills and stuff like that I need to get done. Also errands. So I did a lot. Funny story, Nick, by the way. I was out today picking up some things that we needed at the store. And I'm just minding my business, doing my thing. Usually I have my AirPods in where I'm listening to something, and all of a sudden I go walking by and I'm just picking up different things, right? And I see this old guy out of the corner of my eye, and he's like, had to be 75. And he was there, and it looked like he was with his wife. And there was another guy that I'm guessing was his son that looked like maybe he was like 50. And I walked by, and it was kind of like I felt like he was looking at me. And so I turned, and I had the my therapist is an influencer shirt on. And I walked by, and I just kind of glanced over and looked at him. He made eye contact with me, and he goes, "I really like your shirt." Just like really expressive right at me. And I'm like, thanks. Like I kind of almost sometimes don't remember I have these shirts on. And so I didn't realize people actually would read them.
Yeah, because
and so I'm like,
you wear them all the time. So you just,
and I just go about my business. I look backwards a little bit. You know how you look back and see if people are still looking? Well, he was still looking. Then I go to check out, and I'm in a line, and he walks by with his wife and the other guy. And he points out to the other guy, I think it was his son, like hitting him like, that's the shirt I was telling you about, right?
Yeah. Weird. Had no idea what reaction therapy was, just like the shirt. And that's...
But do you tell a 75-year-old man, hey, it's reaction therapy, it's on YouTube, you should go check it out?
That's an interesting one. You want to pump out content to everybody, but
you have grandparents that are 82. Could you tell them that? Could you tell your grandfather that?
No.
And he would go check it out? No, because they probably don't look at YouTube.
Yeah, my grandpa has a flip phone. Just got a new flip phone, by the way.
No, they still made
new one.
But his phone got old, like outdated, and they're like, you need to get a new one. He's like, give me a flip.
He had his old one for like 8 years.
That's my dad.
He would charge it like every week, like once a week. He would charge it.
But see, that's like me. I ride a bike to work, and people at work look at me like I'm nuts. Like, you ride a bike to work? You don't even have a car? Like, you charge this much and you ride a bike? I do it because I enjoy it. He has a flip phone because he enjoys that.
You go. You don't need he doesn't need anything else.
Complications out of here.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
other than that, I'm doing great.
That's good. I'm doing okay.
It's good to have y'all back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Yeah. We haven't recorded a podcast.
Tell me how you're doing.
Well, we haven't recorded a podcast in so long. It feels like forever.
Since our trip to Alaska.
I'm doing okay. I just got back from a road trip that I took my brother on to do some of his stuff in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, we're shooting a film, finishing it up, and it's 100 degrees, and they had to go shoot a few more scenes, and there was Nick.
So I drove him up.
We couldn't go, so Nick had to have somebody over 18 there with him.
Yeah, and so got a hotel room, and we stayed there for a couple nights, and then we just drove back today, and I literally got back like 2 hours ago, a little less than 2 hours ago, and recording a podcast.
A couple nights in Austin, Texas. Why wouldn't that be awesome, right?
It was fun. It was a good brother time. So
I'm so glad. It was some great husband-wife time.
I'm sure y'all enjoyed it here.
We did.
Anyway, okay, so let's go to the intro topic of today. It's an interesting one.
You got it. Ooh, hello.
All right. So our intro topic today is Something that has recently happened as we're talking about this. It's a couple weeks old when you were saying this, but it's basically prank calls and like SWAT team calls and stuff like that. Recently, there's been a couple of YouTubers. I'm not going to mention who.
Good.
Um,
Thank you.
but a couple of YouTubers, and I'm sure it happens to. It's just when you have so many followers and you give away information of where you are and stuff like that, it kind of is not good. And so recently, there's been a couple of YouTubers that have done some prank calls, may or may not be illegal to do, especially with some of the things I saw. And then there were some rumors that there were some SWAT people called like the SWAT team on them, and they came to their house, and just some weird, crazy things that are kind of like extreme. And I feel like it's a lot of attention seeking, but I don't want to go into too many details because I'm not trying to bash these people. I'm just trying to get your opinion on a mental health perspective on this, because it's really like it turns from a funny thing, like it started out as a funny thing, into a pretty serious matter with people getting arrested and stuff like that. So, and it's really bad with the people. With one of the videos I saw where there was, I don't know if it was a real SWAT team, but it looked real inside somebody's house, and the guy didn't know it. So it's just, I don't know. It's a lot of stuff. I saw it yesterday. It's pretty new.
Yeah.
And y'all know watching this probably who I'm talking about, but what do you think about all that?
Well, I said it in a reaction I did this morning, actually, Nick, that there is so much pressure in our society today for people to get likes and views and recognition and be the latest trend, that so much focus gets put on the risk and the danger. So people do crazy, stupid things. And like they say, right, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And it happens all the time, where I think younger people, and I'll put anybody in their 20s as younger people today, because there are many 28-year-olds who are super duper mature, have an amazing life, families and careers and stuff like that. And there are a ton of 28-year-olds who act like 14-year-olds. And so the reality here is, there's more to life than views and followers and getting attention. And sometimes danger gets involved. And I'm being completely serious as like a grown-up here, that if you can't think 3 steps ahead and say, what is the outcome of what I'm about to do, then you really are not functioning maturely. So the outcome meaning, is this prank? Because there are plenty of pranks you can do that are harmless and that are funny. Is the prank going to end up in any kind of crazy situation? And I just think too many young people, Nick, don't think about it. They just do it, and they don't know consequences. And in our world today, for some reason, people think they can do and have the right to do, and they're entitled to do whatever they want, and they won't have any consequences. And we need to buckle down. Let's talk about Brittany Griner, right? Over there in Russia right now, where, look, right or wrong, it does let you appreciate the way other countries are versus here. Like, we have a lot more freedom here than other countries, and they will take you down just for a little bit of marijuana or THC or whatever she had. They'll take you down for months in prison because of that. When here, everybody can bash the country and talk horribly about it and get no consequences. And that's the same with police officers. You know, I had a police officer, great guy, client of mine, who was in the force for 30-something years and retired. And he really was cream of the crop and a great guy and a great officer. And to see how horribly treated police officers are today than they have been before, we throw everybody in the bucket as horrible instead of just focusing on the ones that maybe are. And so we have to be able to pay attention to that. And long story short, Nick, too many young people don't face consequences.
That's true.
They don't look at something and make a mature decision. And then when they get in trouble, they just expect to be absolved.
And that's totally true. And then on the other case, there's the one guy who had people that called us the SWAT team on him. I don't know if it was real or not, but like the audience of these people too, like are watching these people, and it might not even be the entertainer they're watching. They just want to do it for fun. Even the audience of some of these big names want to like get their name out there somehow. And just, I don't know. It's just like, it's both ways. It's the entertainer, but also the people watching. So I don't know.
Doesn't it seem crazy sometimes when you see videos of things, dangerous things, And people are so bent on recording it to be able to post it that a lot of people will comment like, why didn't you help out instead of standing there holding the phone while somebody's getting attacked or beaten? Like, there's so many people that just want to catch the clip. But there is fun danger prank. Look, I got a story when I was younger, and this was my teenage years. And this was back in the day of rotary phones where you dial all the way around, you know? Yeah. And there was a radio show that was having this fundraiser on the radio. That's what we would do, is listen to the radio. And there was a telethon, right? And they were trying to raise money. And they said, you know, so we would prank call in and donate money, but we weren't really, because in those days, you had to donate and then you would have to get put on the phone with somebody to give them your check number. Didn't really have credit cards even back then. So it was a different deal. And so you could donate ahead of time, but that would get us on the radio. So we were like, let's get on the radio. Yeah. And this guy was like, I'll never forget this. He was like, if we get a donation of $700 or more, I will shave my head on this show tonight. Yeah. And we called in, me and my friends called in and donated and said, we'll donate $700. And it got all this attention on the radio that night. And then all of a sudden we were like, hang up, let's get off. But it was innocent. I don't even think he got his head shaved, honestly. Yeah. But those are different than really putting lives in danger.
Yeah, for real. Anyway, that was more than I thought, but yes.
Anyway,
that it's true. And I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm just trying to get mental health, because we're focusing on mental health.
Sure.
So. Okay, cool. Now the topic, well, another topic I had, because we're talking about the history today, and it's the last history episode that we're going to have. I just wanted to each give, I know it's hard, but let's each give our top memory of reaction therapy so far. Like our favorite memory of reaction therapy.
Okay. I go first?
Sure. Because I don't have mine. You probably don't have yours either. But
I would have to go top 3. Okay, but probably my top memory, this is crazy, right? But it was the very first day when I came home from work. I remember walking in the front door. Nick was on the dining room table. I'm like, how's it going, Nick? And he's like, we're going somewhere. Yeah, and I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, yes, it's happening right now. There were like views and views and views coming on our first or second video. And I think it was a Thursday or Friday. It must have been a Friday. And I just remember that feeling of like, we did this video and it was like, whatever. And then Nick sitting there at the computer and he's like, we're going somewhere. And I'm like, you're kidding me. And this was December of last year. So that was the number 1. Number 2 would be with the mom of 21 Pilots reaching out to me and saying she appreciated the reactions we've done. I haven't really talked about that, but she was unbelievably kind and nice and generous, and really appreciated Tyler Joseph's mom and all that she said, because that meant a lot. And this was way back. This goes way back to the beginning, but that was probably the second one. Anyway, I'll go 2.
You go 2? Okay.
I mean, I can go more, but
yeah. About those 2, the first one that you said was really cool. I like, when I saw that, I'm like, dang, we were actually, and it probably wasn't even that many views. It was probably just at the beginning. It was probably like,
but it was going
1,000, and I saw it going.
When you refresh and you start to see every time you refresh, it goes up. That was something we have never experienced before.
And then the second one, when you said that about Tyler Joseph's mom, I was at school and you called me, and I was doing, like, I was busy, like, with a group doing some, like, homework together. And then you're like, it's still like, you need to answer. So I went out and answered, and I was like, it was going nuts. Anyway, I guess mine, I'll put it on me so you can, my favorite memory probably, it was probably, so funny.
You made the outline for this show.
No, but I didn't think about it really. I think my favorite was probably, I would either say when you made the graduation video, when this last May when I graduated, how you made that video. It came out on my graduation, and everybody, and really just like my birthday, my graduation, people, like, we have such a cool community that, like, whenever something big happens to us, they're all like, all y'all are so supportive. Yeah. And so just to see all the comments like, hey, congrats, man, or like, happy birthday, that's really cool. But that's been kind of an ongoing thing. That's been a huge memory. And then the second one was probably the 100K live stream, where everybody was so generous. Everybody was so happy for us. going with the 100K live stream, like when Charlotte, what's happened there? When Charlotte sent me the video that we ended up showing you on that 100K live stream, when she first sent it to me and said, hey, all these people have like made a verse or whatever.
That was really cool.
That was like, when I saw that, I'm like, he's going to love that. And I was at school too then.
Yeah.
And like, it's so weird because I was at school during when a lot of things were happening. I was like doing that, but I was also doing this, and it was just all of those kind of moments, like the big milestones, like that video, and then knowing that the 100K was coming, and then also just to have all y'all be like a second family to us, like like appreciate us for who we are is really cool. So,
and everybody here that we want to do so well for, like we put a lot into these videos because y'all matter to us. Everybody does. So that was really cool. I was gonna say my third would probably be that. Just the button and getting to that point with everybody who'd been there from the beginning. Yeah. And having that live stream to celebrate. We did it. Like we've gotten to the point of having this, that I feel like a weatherman, like this thing right here. And that was a huge achievement. And like, that was kind of the milestone. Like that was the biggest at this point. It's awesome. Everything's awesome. But
the biggest of them now.
That was really the big, like that was the achieve. That was saying we did something and it was an accomplishment. So thank you.
Yeah, and now right around this time you're seeing this, we're another 100K.
Really?
Crazy.
Wow.
We'll be around this. We might not be there yet,
but
keeps
going. It's incredible.
Yeah, hoping to get that other plaque. This one's cool. We're hoping for the bigger one soon. That's the goal. That's my goal, at least. So anyway, I thought that would be cool to talk about. So now that we've talked about that,
walking down memory lane.
Let's go back and talk about the last couple months of the history with our topic of the day.
Topic of the day.
Topic of today.
I noticed the two of us, like we did really cool. It's like black shirt, black hat, white, but the difference is
our cups. This is just my cup. I have this one.
Just my cup.
And like, I don't have another one.
Yeah, so. It's okay. Topic of the day.
Topic of the day is our history. So let's start back.
Chapter.
The last time we talked about history was right around May when Tom had his birthday. I graduated college and came home. That's kind of where we left off. So what happened?
Yeah, we talked about how April and May were kind of, as far as subscribers go, was kind of the lowest point. It's kind of where everything really just slowed down. It kept going, but
the end of April was pretty slow. I think.
And part of it was kind of nice because we had so much going on. But then after May and into June, it was nice to have you home and get us settled. And that's when we could finally start focusing on. And that's where Nick and I both sat down, just a little inside scoop, but we sat down to talk about, okay, what are we going to do? Like, do we keep doing this? Do we do it at this pace? Do we change what we're doing? Do we stop what we're doing? Like just a real evaluation of like, what are we doing? Because Nick's graduated college and it's time to start a career and get a life and do your thing. But, since he finished in 3 years, he has time. He's 21 years old. So you do have time to still, and I believe in your 20s, it's a time to take risk and to fail and to do everything you can. Like this is the time to do that. So I wanted him to be able to have freedom to do that. And we decided on giving it the summer.
Yeah. And so now when you're seeing this, it's the very end of August and it's about the time where we're going to decide. And so probably the next podcast episode after this, we'll give you all our conclusion on what we decided. But it's been, it was a really cool time. It was a scary time for me, honestly, because I'm like, I know I just graduated. And then I'm like faced with this, like, okay, we gotta grind this summer and really like get it going for me to continue doing this. Because it's just like, it was cool because I knew I had the summer and I don't have school anymore and I can focus on this, but it also scary because I know I'm on the clock now and something I hadn't faced before.
If you want to do this, I mean, you've got a good enough degree that you can have a job and a career and do really well. True. So the difference being with people who do this just for fun and casually, they do it when they want to. Every 2-3 days, maybe a week in between video. They just kind of put it out whenever, which is fine. The challenge with that is you miss the growth potentially. You miss you just can't cover much music. Like you have to kind of pick your spots. The other piece that's key for us that's different than other reaction channels, I think, honestly, is the mental health piece, which is
a big thing.
we are trying to spread a message about mental health awareness and getting better in spite of whether somebody gets therapy or not, that there are ways still to get mentally healthy.
Yeah.
And so the more music we cover, right, the more we spread the message. And so as we started to get attention, and this was what was kind of cool, was, we decided we're going to take the summer. And if at the end of August, 31st of August, we will not check or decide anything until the 31st of August. We're just going to do it the way we have been. We're going to work hard at it. We're going to give it our 100%. I'm going to use it as a second job and just grind away off hours. And you're going to do it full time. And we're going to see if there's a trend in the right direction as far as attention and how much people like it and whether or not it has the potential to do more. And we had some great things happen during that time. I don't know if you want to tell any of them, but
yeah, we can get into them a little. Like it's kind of the July, August part is what we'll get into that. But anything like special happened in May, June. June we went on vacation for a week, and so leading up to that was a lot of preparing videos to make sure we had enough. That was a really stressful time.
Yeah,
make sure we had all the thumbnails done, or we got them from our amazing thumbnail maker Emily. Want to make sure
shout
we
out
get
to
credit for her
Emily
because she's been awesome this whole summer, just making sure we have thumbnails every day. Because we post so much, it's really hard.
Yeah.
But to get all those ready, to get all the videos ready, to get all the ideas, we hadn't really started, which we'll go into. The live streams have been a big thing this summer that we've started. So we hadn't really started that because we kind of had done live streams every now and then at the time we left. But really after when we got back is when we really started getting big into that. But we were still having to get a ton of videos ready, which was a big step. And anytime we go out of town, it is a big thing just because we want to have enough videos ready beforehand because we need time to prepare to leave. We need videos during while we're gone, and then we need videos probably a week after we get back just to not have to rush back into it. And so that's 3 weeks of videos within a short amount of time. And so that was really June. What was the big thing for us? We were working really hard that month. So,
ooh, that was a lot of information, Nick. You don't hear Nick talk like that very much.
I do. I feel like I do. I feel like on this podcast I do.
Right there.
I don't know. I feel like maybe on the live streams I might not because I'm focusing, but on these podcasts, which not a lot of people watch, but if they would understand this is
eventually they'll watch. Yeah.
And this podcast is the third one on our podcast channel, so that's really cool too.
I think that I think we made, again, thinking ahead like we are right now. We're thinking about the holidays, November, December. As far as what we're going to do, we had kind of made decisions on making a transition. That's when we dropped the Google form and all of the requests that were on there and made a decision to shift gears.
That was early July.
Into a new way of interacting with people. And so my passion, what I wanted to do, I've always said, it's like the inner circle on Patreon. I love the contact with people. And so we kind of made that decision to do more live streams and less just recording like of whatever we wanted. So
even though we do a lot of that too.
That's when we thought, like, let's do 3 separate live streams. Let's do one for the members and subscribers because they deserve that. And they're investing in us.
Oh,
number 2.
Go ahead. I'll tell you something in a minute.
Number 2, let's do a live stream to now let everybody that's a part of Reaction Therapy decide what we put on YouTube. Let's let everybody out there in the family pick the videos I'm going to react to, which takes all of our decision making away or most of it. And then number 3, let's do a live stream where Tom reacts, which a lot of people have asked me, reacts to music in front of everybody else. Mm-hmm. And so we incorporated all those 3, which I think have been a huge home run along with one other thing, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned on the first live stream is for members too. We added
members and subscribers.
Yeah, but we didn't explain. This is when we came with the members idea on
That's
YouTube
right.
because that was
take that.
Okay. Well, you mentioned
He's
it.
Such
so
a good
then
producer.
No, I got you. We talked about it before. We didn't just go into this. We definitely prepared. I'll put it on me for this. Yeah, we added memberships to YouTube. So we've had Patreon. We started that in March, I think it was March, and then by early July or late June, we added members. We realized that was a thing. if you see on anybody's thing where it says join, that means they have memberships. And we realized that was a thing. Just like Patreon has the same kind of form of memberships where you can join for a certain amount of money each month and you get certain content. And so we realized, let's try this. Let's try YouTube members. Maybe people will be more willing to subscribe to something if it's directly through YouTube. We thought that would be a good idea. And so we added memberships, and we're like, it can't hurt. Like, it doesn't cost us anything. It's just extra content for people, and let's just see if anybody wants to do it. And then the big thing, we started it did pretty well to start. Like, not a lot of people joined right away, but then we started doing live streams, and in the live streams we had a couple people join. I think we had like 9 people join up front. There's like 9 main ones. There's one main one that joined at the very beginning, and on a live stream we saw this thing pop up, and it said this person has gifted 5 members. And we both were like, well, what does that mean? And I'm like, I've seen it on other people's YouTubes before. And so I'm like, I've seen that somewhere. And I didn't know what it was. And then for that whole live stream, or a lot of it, we researched what that meant. And we realized you can actually gift memberships on YouTube, on live streams. You can go in and gift people, like pay for their membership for a month and give it to random people. And we saw that and we're like, that's a really cool idea. And so we kind of just ran with that. And we're very giving people. We love to give back. And so on a live stream, we'll try to give back and give memberships to people. And it's just something that's been really cool. And, other people feed off the energy we give and they start giving it. It's just a whole giving community. It's really cool.
Here's the difference we found between Patreon and YouTube, which YouTube has cornered the market on it because everybody's on YouTube, right? Is that YouTube allows for a more interactive experience. You're already in YouTube watching videos. So if you join as a member of YouTube, you're hooked into the comment. Like, I can see the comments of specific members first. I can separate them from things. Yeah. We can do, they can put badges next to their name that identify them as a member of Reaction Therapy. Like, they can do some really cool things. And also the gifting of memberships and stuff. Like, you can give 1, you can give 50, but Patreon is like this separate thing that's at another location. It's like, do I really want to drive over there to get that? We can do more over there, I think, but the convenience is tied to YouTube. So we kept both of them going like a blended family. Yeah, almost.
And so we have some people that are joined on both. They just want to support us. And so they're members of Patreon and members of YouTube. And we try to blend it together, like you said, with podcasts and different content that we want to give each platform the opportunity to see it. And so now we're starting, this is like really current. We're trying to give more exclusive content to members and really make the members feel like they're valued. So.
And people tell me all the time, like once they become a member or subscriber, they're like, I never realized how much other content you had. We don't advertise it. We don't sell it out there as far as here's another 50 videos that are sitting on Patreon and YouTube, like if you're a member, but there really are a lot more variety. And that's where people, we already have a lot of variety on YouTube, but people don't realize we've done a lot of other content that's out there that's fun to watch. And it doesn't hurt supporting people like us because, yes, we are trying to make this bigger and better and do more for you. So when that comes to the podcast and us interviewing artists, which we started doing during this time period.
Good transition.
Yeah. That was a huge thing. It's been a dream of mine.
Yeah.
You know that if you watch this, talking to artists, but we did get to start doing that.
Yeah. So, we did members, we started transitioning to interviewing artists. We had that goal. Y'all, getting artists to agree, it's really hard sometimes just because they're really busy. We're really busy. To agree to like a certain time. Like some artists have said, yeah, we want to do it, but timing is just so difficult. And so once we finally got our first couple artists, and now we've interviewed 3 or 4 different artists by the time this is out. And it's been really cool. We interviewed our first artist, Sophie, is what I was trying to say.
We interviewed ourselves.
No, I was trying to say our first artist, Sophie, but I blended it together. Bakura. Sophie Bakura I have like all these things in my head.
She was our first featured guest.
I was trying to say member. I don't know what I was trying to say. She
Yeah,
was
that was
a
cool.
guest on our podcast, and that was really awesome. And then we got to interview Abstract after we reviewed his song Crisis. He really
Very
loved
chill,
it.
very laid back,
And he loved
down to earth.
Yeah.
You know, and somebody had messaged me on that they said, you know, I've followed Abstract a long time, and I heard some things on that podcast I did not know about him. And that's our goal with this, is not just to sit and interview somebody about, you know, blah, 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 the basics. It's to talk about their life and where they've come from, and what scares them and what excites them, and just to discover things that maybe other people don't know.
Exactly.
And we're headed on in bigger and better directions even.
And now we can officially say this because it's been out for a couple weeks now. We got to interview Dax, which is a really, really cool.
To have his people contact us and say, hey, we'd like to set up an interview. That wasn't even one we went and chased.
Yeah.
I probably did message him, honestly, but I messaged like 50 people and heard from hardly any, because they're just busy, and it's hard to get into the root system of their managers and their people. But for them to contact us and say, we'd like to set up this time for you and Dax to talk, unbelievably fun.
And it's not a podcast. It's not on our podcast channel. It's just an interview. But it was a really cool thing. We got to talk about his Dear Alcohol song and just about his life. And we got some insight that a lot of y'all may not know about him. So it's just really cool.
Just his experience, what he's been through, his family, his background, how he thinks, all of that stuff was in there. I mean, Nick got on me sometimes because he said I talk too much, but it's what I do. And I didn't want this to be an interview. Like, I didn't want to say, so tell us more about this. I wanted it to be a conversation where, like, I'm a mental health professional, so I'm going to share my parts of addiction and understanding of recovery. And anyway.
So, I mean, those are some really cool things. That basically is kind of the essence of the history of the last couple months. And going forward, we have a lot of cool things lined up too. I want to interview more artists. That's really a big goal, is to really get to different artists and talk to them about mental health. That's really, I think, our biggest thing going forward, is to try to get more artists to interview with us, because it's really helpful. It's helpful to y'all, and it's helpful for other people too, just for everybody. It's helpful for us to get to know more about the artist. It's helpful for the artist. Like on Dax's conversation, whatever you want to call it, he seemed to really enjoy a lot of things you said, like he hadn't thought about before. He's like, mentioned the brain a lot and like how the brain works, and he was amazed by that. And I think it's really cool to see these artists who are big names, like, not even realize some of the stuff that you do. And it's really cool that you get to share your wisdom and they get to share theirs with you. And so that's really our goal.
It's like, at least I have something to bring to the table, which is a mental health field. And I'm not just sitting here trying to talk about music, because that would be demeaning to somebody like that who's an artist, because I don't try to talk about their music. I try to talk about their mind, and I try to talk about their patterns and their background. And it's fun. I love that part. I would like to just do that.
Eventually, maybe we'll see.
I mean, I love the reactions. If I didn't have a job, and this is the key, y'all, because I have a career, I've got clients that rely on me. I've got clients right now that it's a tough balance, because people that want to come in that can't, and I only have so many hours in the week. So do I just go see people at the office and then just settle back on this and don't do this as much, and then we just kind of slow it all down? The reason we haven't slowed down what we're doing is because it hasn't stopped. It's kept trajectorying up and increasing and improving. So we're going to keep doing that.
We're going to keep doing it as long as y'all want to see it.
But it is hard. It's a lot of work. We put some hours in.
Yeah, it's brutally hard, but it's definitely worth it to see all y'all and the comments.
Having so much fun.
The comments are huge.
Love it.
When y'all give positive comments. Even negative comments, it gives us something.
The negative ones get me, man. They
fuels
get me.
the fire, and it just makes it worth it. Anyway, so anything else on the history before we move on?
No.
Okay. Well, the next episode of history might not even do history. Might just be looking forward. I don't know. Might do something like that. We've mentioned wanting to talk about a certain artist in a podcast episode, just make it on a certain artist. So those will be coming soon.
That's what I would love. Let's take an artist. Let's take all their music. I'll have it right here in front of me.
We're doing it because you've mentioned it for the past month to me. So we're going to do it.
We can look at all their history and who they are. And then we can get questions from y'all that we could talk about. So that we can have a cool, isolated episode on an artist.
We'll definitely do that. Cool. Well, we have some questions from some people. We haven't done. I feel like we haven't done the podcast. I looked at the last Q&A, and I'll get the transition here. All our little Q&A transition, but I look back and it was a month ago when I asked for questions, but there's still questions there.
Okay,
So I'm like,
I
let's get
love
into it.
questions. And
So,
somebody did ask us that on a live stream recently, Nick. Like, when do you ever have anything where you ask questions and answer? And that's what we said. You can
yeah,
do it for the podcast, or we can do it if you're a subscriber or a member of YouTube or Patreon. You can do that every week. We have a live stream that you can come and just chat with us.
exactly. Yeah. Especially the members and Patreon live stream. We
That's
literally
what I just
sit
said.
down.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that first part. I heard you say live stream. I didn't hear you say the first part.
He was thinking about something else.
I was just reading
Okay.
this, but
Go for it.
okay. So first question comes from Daniel. Have you been the one crying on a therapy session? I guess as a therapist, have you actually been the one that has cried?
I have cried in therapy sessions. I mean, I try not to make therapy sessions about me. So I'm not going to cry because I'm so sad for somebody and, or I feel bad for myself and I'm sharing a story about my life and cry. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cry with and in relation to compassion.
Yeah.
Instead of sympathy, having empathy for somebody.
Gotcha.
Because there are people that tell really sad stories sometimes.
Yeah.
It's horrible that you've lost this person in your life, or you've had this illness or disease come in that you can't, or you've had this trauma in the background that's so sad that people are so broken down that I wouldn't say all the time cry like Willie Nelson reaction, but I would say tear up definitely.
Yeah.
For sure, because I try to be completely present with a person and I try to feel exactly where they're at, and that does happen. Now, there are therapists who don't do that ever. There are therapists that don't show any emotion.
Yeah.
There are therapists that don't reveal anything about their life and who they are. I'm just not that guy.
Yeah, you're a relational therapist.
Very relational.
There you go. This one's interesting, and this is more of it's a question, but a kind of a statement. So this person says, Doc, she left me, and she left me and probably never coming back. Should I just let her know she means a lot to me? And KMS, I'll let you figure that out. I don't have a parent or family left. Or I don't have a parent or any family left. My house long ago, but some friends who. So can't make too much into that.
Alone.
Basically, he's alone. His girlfriend left him, and he doesn't know what
desperate.
to do.
Yeah.
So that's not really a question, but kind of just answer that.
I'll tell it to you this way. You can always let somebody know how you feel as long as you're not doing it to get a response. So that knocks a lot of people out right away, because some people say, I want to tell them how much they mean to me. I want to tell them how much I love them. I want to tell them what I wish or hope for them. But it's really wanting to get that response. You know how you send a message to somebody and it's like, man, they left me on read or they left me on delivered. Like that. If you're sending a message to get recognized or to get something back, that's not the way to do it. I wouldn't send it. But if somebody was naturally saying, I want the best for you, it's very sad and it's hard for me right now, but I want you to be happy, or I want you to be able to, live a good life, and that's it, then great. Yes, you can do that. But you don't want to start sending messages in hopes that you'll get a response from them, because it'll make your sadness go deeper.
Yeah, I've experienced that before. I've never with like a heartbreak or anything, but like just wanting to get a response from somebody. It could be like just a friend. It doesn't even have to be a significant other. It can be a friend that I wanted to get a response back from, and it made me feel more depressed because I sent the message hoping I'd get a response and didn't.
And feel ignored.
Yeah. And
even though you don't actually know on the other side, we could talk about Stan, right? From Eminem.
Yeah.
You don't know on the other side. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they got distracted. A client of mine said this. They had texted me, and I just had been so busy. I've tried to respond to everything I can, but they're like, I guess you just couldn't get back to me. And they showed me, and I realized, oh, I did see your text, but I was so busy, I just didn't get to respond to it. But they can take that personally. And it's very important to know that sometimes other people don't mean to leave you out or don't mean to reject you. Sometimes they do. But in this case, you have to be very careful. Are you sending something to this person because you want to wish them well, or because you want to get them back?
Yeah. And our last question comes from Danny. Did you ever go through a crazy heartbreak that changed the way you think?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to expand?
And the number one is with my wife, your mom. Yeah, there's a whole story I could do. We should do a history of Tom, but she dumped me. Basically, we dated for a couple years, and she dumped me, rightfully, should have. And it was one of the worst times of my life, honestly. And sent me through a lot of therapy, self-discovery. It changed everything about who I was in terms of like growing up and maturity. So yeah, there's a whole story there. But yes, I had that experience with my wife, Jill. And that's why to this day, she says, I watch your feet, not your mouth, Tom. I'm not going to listen to your stories. I'm not going to listen to you make excuses or try to sweet talk. I'm going to watch how you live. And I will not stay with somebody who is not walking the right way. Anyway.
Wow.
To be continued. That's a whole nother show. That
if y'all want to see that,
that should be a tier on Patreon, like another paid tier of, do you want the inside of what Tom's really been through?
Yeah.
Because people look at me and they're like, well, you hadn't been in anything really like, come on, you're pretty vanilla, Tom. Like you've had a decent upper middle class life or whatever and everything. But no, I mean, there's stuff.
Everybody's gone through something.
Yeah. Don't judge a book by its cover.
All right, cool. Well, you know what?
Nick.
You know what time it is now, and I know before the show I told you it's coming, and you're like, I don't know what it's gonna be today. It might be now. You said inspiration instead of quote, but it's time for the quote of the podcast.
I think we're gonna have to change this from quote to like message of the day or inspiration.
Well, it doesn't have to be
of the podcast.
I guess it doesn't have to be a quote. It can be like just more of like a message. I think is what it's meant to be, not necessarily like somebody's quote. It can be. It's more of a Tom quote. It's something that you say.
Which they come out all over the place. But, you know, honestly, all I've been thinking about today is, especially for everybody, as I do reactions and I do these podcasts, is like, you know, try really hard not to give up. Like try to have hope for things and recognize that even if today or this week or this month or this year has been rough, or this relationship, like that question had said, that, and I talked to a guy this week about a relationship and a breakup that he experienced, that you got to realize sometimes we have a breakup and we throw the relationship away as if none of it was good now because we broke up and we're not together anymore. But what I want you to do is take the good parts of that relationship that did go well, that did lift you up, that did inspire you, and use those for the next relationship. So the real key with that, the message is, try really hard not to lose hope and try to focus on the fact that you can use experiences today that aren't good for good tomorrow. And so always try to look at your bad experiences and see, what have I learned from this that I can use later on? Whatever that is worth.
Yeah. I like it. Very just to the point. I like it. Cool. Anything else before we end the show? I have one thing actually.
Go for it.
Mention. I have a sports channel on YouTube.
Yes,
and I've mentioned this a lot. There's actually a question in the Q&A about I used to have another channel by a different name, and this person asked if it's coming back. And no, it's not coming back, but my new channel is, and it's Rise Up Sports. You can go follow it on YouTube. I'm on TikTok and Instagram as well, if you want to look up Rise Up Sports on those. But I talk about sports. I post every other day. Right at 300 subscribers as we're recording this right now. Hopefully I'm at more by the time this comes out.
Yes.
I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can live stream. That's
go to Rise Up Sports on YouTube and just subscribe, support the guy. Let Nick have a shot.
And if you're not into sports, still go subscribe and just play the video. Just play the entire thing and put it on mute and do something else.
Yeah, to do live streams, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So sometimes that's what I tell people. Just turn the video on. You can turn the volume down and just let it play because it will help Nick out. And I'm trying to help Nick out because I want to see him do live streams with people about sports.
Yeah, that would be my ultimate goal.
Rise Up Sports. Go get it.
A lot of football content as the football season is literally coming next week. So, yeah, look forward to that. Or the week after. I can't remember. Something like that. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Anything else?
That's it. Cheers.
Cheers. And we'll see. That was a weird sound. And we'll see you on the next Reaction Therapy podcast.